Initialize sequence.
Welcome to The Baldcast, a production of John Canzano's Bald-Faced Truth.
Wayne Tinkle is out as the basketball coach at Oregon State. A lot of questions around his departure, his dismissal, the timing of it. He had won 6 of 8 games. He had won 2 in a row. Athletic director Scott Barnes calls him in and fires him, gives him the option to finish the season. I've wanted to talk to Wayne Tinkle one-on-one, and I told you I'd get him on this show, and he will be joining us here on the phone line to talk about his dismissal and what he's thinking and how he is going to treat sort of the end of this season. He has decided that he will see it through. Not surprised there. Anybody who knows Wayne Tinkle knows he's going to look you in the eye, he's going to shake your hand, he's going to be authentic, and he's going to see it through. But what was that like to go into that office and to go into that meeting? And what has he been up against at Oregon State? Certainly some questions for Scott Barnes, the athletic director at Oregon State. But first, I want to talk to Wayne Tinkle. And so he is joining me now. Coach, give us an idea of what the last week has been like for you. I will be in Vegas for the WCC tournament. But, Coach, what has the last week been like for you?
Range of emotions, really trying, how we do it, trying to get our team in the right mindset to finish strong. I've been really proud of our guys the last month for all that we've, been through, illness, injury, the way they've rallied down the stretch, at one point winners of 6 of 8, and then obviously the end of last week was tough after a hard fought battle against San Diego to get the news the next day and then meet with the team twice, once to kind of let them know what was going on. And then told them I needed some time to think about whether I would finish with them or not, because Scott gave us that courtesy. And it was really not to think, what do I need to do? I had to take time to think what was best for the team. Was it me coaching them knowing that I'm not back? Would that be a downer? Would it be me just removing myself from the equation, putting them in a situation, to finish as strong as they could? So a little bit all over the place, to be honest.
How hard was that decision? Because as you step away, there's probably part of you that's thinking on behalf of your own interests, and then there's part of you thinking about all these kids that you recruited.
Well, that's exactly what somebody said. For the first time in your career, you got to think about what's best for you. And as I came home and got away from the emotions on campus, obviously our family's rock, Lisa, very level-headed, reached out to my 2 of my kids. One, it was in the middle of the night in Japan, so I couldn't reach her, but just kind of talking through it. It's some people that are trusted friends of mine. Hey, Coach, winning record, you won 2 in a row, you've won 6 out of 8, great time to walk away. And then my family just saying, and me reminding myself what we say before every game and after every game. You stare adversity in the face, you fight through it, you stick till the end. They'll have to drag our asses off the battlefield in a basketball sense, kicking and screaming, whatever. And so it became very clear. I had a talk with my agent, and he said, that's exactly who you are. That's your core. You fight to the end, no matter, what you're facing, the obstacles in front of you. And so made that decision, and then we set an impromptu meeting later that day to bring the guys back together. I think they were surprised to see me in the meeting. They thought it was just going to be the assistants kind of giving them a little bit of, here's where we go next. And I had a little fun with it, to be honest. I started out very somber and said, guys, I didn't want to deliver this news to you via text. I wanted to do it face to face. And I said something like this: I've always said that I'm going to coach until they tell me to stop. Well, they gave me the option to go until the season ended, and that's what I'm going to freaking do. And then 15 guys bum rushed me and almost tackled me through the wall. So it was a pretty cool experience. The emotions were flowing, and it was a pretty good high for all of us.
That has to feel good, and especially because I know that the timing of this bothered me. You won 6 of 8. You mentioned 2 in a row. Did you know when the meeting gets called that this is what it was going to be about, or do you walk in there expecting maybe to get a pat on the back, or what were you thinking?
Well, I mean, all that stuff I think will all come out, John, respectfully. Right now, I really want to keep the focus on the guys and our preparation for the tournament. But, It's just, when you take on, when you're in this profession, that this is something that almost is inevitable. But right now, I'm so dedicated to these guys and seeing it through for all they mean to us. And I'll tell you this, I'm not harboring any bitterness. I mean, Oregon State has done so much for us. The achievements of our guys, both academically and athletically, are all well known. And man, we're going to walk away with our chins held high. But right now, man, we're trying to figure out how to get a couple guys healthy, get ourselves better in these next few days before we head to Vegas.
I can't help but look at your tenure and a couple of things. One, the Elite Eight run. I was there and watched it. That was magical. And then two, I think about the guys that maybe had you retained them, the Tyler Bilodeau, the Parsafalas. If you have those kinds of players who stay in your program and you have them for longer periods of time, it feels like you could have had more success. And I can't help but think about that. Do you think about that at all?
No, certainly. And I'll even go back further. After we go to the tournament in year 2, the next year, all that momentum, of course, we lost GP2, who meant so much to us, but just blown away by injuries, illness, and other things. Losing a guy, Malcolm DeVivier, before school even started. Trace 6 games in for the season, gone. Stevie Thompson gone for 8 games. Shea Njai, season-ending shoulder surgery. Really brutal, third year with all those circumstances. But we built it back, and next year I think we had 11 more wins, and then remember we finished 4th the year after that, best finish in conference history in 30 years. And then the year after that we had it going again. You remember the shot Jared Lucas hit off the pass from Trace to beat Utah, and then they pull the plug. So a lot of crap, a little bit out of our control, a lot out of our control. But we didn't panic. We stayed focused. Let's do it right. And then after that Elite Eight run, which was incredible, the way we win 3 in a row on the road in conference, at Cal, at Stanford, at Utah, before the Ducks got us. And then, you go through UCLA, Oregon, and Colorado on the way to the tournament, and then to go do what we did was amazing. Then that swept away. COVID hits. We've got to sign guys in the spring. 2 months, I think it was almost 2 months, we couldn't leave campus or bring anybody to campus. And those are facts. Like, those aren't, and I've admitted that year, man, I didn't get the right group together, and I did a bad job managing. But then we hit the whole portal NIL deal, and unfortunately we had $0. Thank goodness Kyle Bjornstad in the middle of year 3, not going in, found some money for Pope and Bilodeau, and we knew, I said, hey, we have no money. We're going to have to commit to freshmen, and we're going to lose, but we're going to get our culture back. Everybody was on page, and I said, hopefully in a few years we'll have the money, to retain the ones we need to, and unfortunately we didn't. And so, yes, thought about, give me 3 of those 7, give me, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but a Bilodeau, a Nate Kings, and a Parsafala, it's a whole different deal. Now, saying that, replacing, I think we had 10 new players last year. We won 20, went to the postseason, lose our starting 5, and here we are. We finished 1 place better in the WCC. Now, we want to finish higher than that, but when we're funded rev share wise 7th, 8th in the WCC, and we finished 5th and 4th, I think that's pretty good return on investment.
I think a lot of coaches in that position would have made a lot of excuses. They would have been out talking about it constantly. You leave here with this reputation of somebody, I said it, he's, Wayne Tinkle's a look you in the eye, shake your hand guy. Everybody's talking about what a nice person you are, what a genuine person you are, the authenticity that you have. Is it challenging to keep that, though, when you look at the bucket and the bucket's leaking from the bottom?
Yep. No, certainly that competitive side, they want, jump out and defend, but I learned early on, it's the way I was raised, the half glass full. We had some incredible times here. And you mentioned a key word. I had opportunities to go elsewhere out of Montana. I had opportunities to go elsewhere from here. The authenticity of the people at Oregon State are what attracted us. And the way that we do things, we build from the ground up. We don't cut corners. It takes time. You get hit in the face. you don't sway from it. You just stay to the plan. Put great people around you. I mean, love the guys I've been able to work with and the players we've had, and at the right place with the right people. That's what we thought Oregon State was all about. And I know, like, I'm not going to dodge it. We had a couple brutal years. The record looks what the way it does, which I'm not happy about that. I do have some pride in that. And we had opportunities to go elsewhere where maybe there was more commitment to basketball, but we absolutely loved our time here through the highs and the lows, man. We learned a lot. We made some great friends. Really, like, the stuff we were doing in the public was not for, we didn't post, I don't post stuff on social media that we do around here and all that. It's just who we are. That's why we felt we were such a good fit for each other. And we'll be excited for what's next. We're not rooting any ill will on anybody. We want to see this program get to where, it's funded to the level of expectations, and the expectations should be high because it's such a special place.
You have watched this job change in your time. Like, it has gone from teaching and coaching to now unrestricted free agency, and
Yes.
that is a bigger part of the job than maybe you signed on for all those years ago. What does that feel like?
Yeah, certainly. And we've had to navigate through some tough times. That's not the landscape across the country, because the haves have been able to make a pretty easy transition. Now, it's still nonsense. You got coaches having to deal with agents, but it's shifted from AAU coaches, high school coaches. I miss that. We used to have to talk to high school coaches and parents. Now you've got agents, and like last year, John, I'll give you an example. There were agents calling our players as early as December, telling them how much money they could get them in the portal. And the numbers they're throwing around, it's hard when you're 18 to 22 years old to kind of just shove that off and compartmentalize and stay locked into, what we had going. But it's brought a really tough dynamic, want what you want when you want it, all about yourselves. You've got to be attractive in the portal. So get your stats where you need to be, when all we do is preach servitude, selflessness, play for each other, play for something bigger than yourself, which, by the way, are pretty good darn life lessons, right, for these young men to follow and learn from. So what's really destroying me is it's not the fact that players can earn money for their name, image, and likeness. It's the lessons that have been shattered about accountability, discipline, doing for others. That was such a unique. And how about legacy? Leaving a legacy at a school, getting your degree from the place you started. All those things have been destroyed, and that's what really gets my goat about where we've gone in this most recent era.
My back of the napkin math has your current revenue share around maybe a tick over 2 million, if I'm figuring it right. I'm just kind of spitballing that. What do you need at Oregon State to win big?
Well, I was told. I'm sorry. I was on record about a year and a half ago saying the year we enter the Pac-12, we need 4 million, and that's been out there. You're certainly right in the ballpark. And we were told 2 months ago, because you can't wait until the portal opens to figure out what you have to spend. And so I was told that this is out there. We were going to have $100,000 more next year, for our first year in the Pac-12, and certainly wasn't going to be a number that would have been able to compete with those schools that are joining the league.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Gonzaga's coming in; they don't have a football program to share with. They're going to pour all that money into basketball. That's going to be tough to compete with. What you mentioned legacy? What's your legacy at Oregon State?
Oh man, well, it depends on who you ask. I'm good thing I don't look through social media, but here's what I'm proud of. Somebody called me this morning and was kind of teetering around with that and what I want out of this tournament to put a polish on my career. And I said, this next week's all about our players, man. Like, again, John, before we got here, I think in the history of men's basketball at Oregon State, they had 24 academic all-conference We had 20 in our first 8 years. You know, what we've done in the community, and then, you know, we know what we've done with the NCAA tournaments, Elite Eight, the only championship and tournament, Pac-12 tournament championship, and the individual and team records are all there. Like, it's the relationships with the guys and hopefully the impact we had on them that I'm going to take with me. What the school thinks, you know, about my legacy it's out of my hands at this point. But I know that I'm a most importantly, a better person and coach for the time that I've had here at OSU.
I tell you, the feedback, the chatter on social media wasn't about the couple bad seasons. It really wasn't even about the Elite Eight. It was more about the person you are. And I think that's impressive because, you know, I've been at this a long time, and often we lead with the record. Oh, here was the person's record. Here's what their legacy is. And I think what people said is Wayne Tinkle's a good guy. Wayne Tinkle, you know, worked his butt off in this job.
Well, I appreciate all that. And, you know, I could tell you about the number of emails and texts I've gotten from our fan base. It's all been positive. Now, you know, after a game, you might get the dipshit that bet the under and went into overtime and scored more points. But excuse my language, but those are the important things. And I'm just telling you, I know the record would have been better had some circumstances maybe fallen to our favor. But that is what it is. I'm proud that we never changed our mission of who we were, how we were going to develop these young men, give them a great experience, give them a tool set and a skill set to be successful in hoops after college, but more importantly in life. And that's what we're proud of. We never wavered. We never changed who we are. And we know we made a difference. And the one email I'll share, and this one got me emotional, John. It was from a guy that moved to Albany in the last few years from Bozeman, Montana, where he said he cheered against me in my time for the Grizz. But he said, you know, I brought my daughter. We moved out here, waited around to meet you after the game. You know, you got down and spent some time talking about that rivalry in Montana and how great this region was. And, you know, my daughter wasn't sure about it. And you got the ocean here, you got the mountains there. You're going to love it. They became season ticket holders, just dad and his daughter. And he said the conversations walking from our car to Gilwa, I'm holding her hand, good weather and bad weather. You know, racing out to listen to the post game with Mike Parker, and there wasn't a word uttered until the show was over. Those moments, Coach, meant more to us and our relationship. And like, we're judged by wins and losses. I'm not trying to be some bleeding heart guy here. We're judged by win and losses. Knew it going in. Knew it was going to be a tough job going in. But those are the things that make me proud, you know, of what we did here. And I know we made a difference in our athletes' lives. And that's why I'm not going to be bitter. I've seen coaches that were let go, and they're hard to be around, man. I mean, it's like, get on it, move, you know, get away from it, move on. I can't harbor any of those thoughts. This place has been so great to me and my family, and we took the good times just like we took the bad times. Roll up the sleeves and continue to work. And you know what? I've got a couple of goals, and this was asked to me there during the process. What's in my heart? I just turned 60. And I'm a competitive dude. And I said, you know, if I'm here, I said, we're going to get back to the NCAA tournament, especially when the support gets to where it needs to be. The other thing is I want to get my son Trace into coaching. He's let that be known the last couple of years. He's having a heck of a year. He's probably going to play a few more years. But I said, if that's not the vision here, you got to do what you got to do. But I'll find another place and I'll make sure that I get those things done, because that's what we're about. We've built winners wherever we've been at. That's only been here in Montana. Very confident we'll do it again at our next stop.
All right. So I'm hearing a guy who is saying he's not done coaching.
No, damn right. So I'm too young. I've got too much fire in the belly, my man. And I know this. I know that as much as this landscape has changed, I can still make a difference in these young men's life, and that's our motivation.
Where would you ideally want to coach? Like, not a school, but the level, because part of me looks at the guys who are coaching in the Big Sky and go, and still NIL is still a factor there, but it's it's closer to life as you once knew it than maybe you know, the upper echelon of college basketball that has turned professional.
No. That's good perspective. The difference there, they may lose guys, but they're going to have them for longer. You know, they might have them for 2 or 3 instead of 1 or two. But then there's the flip side. It would be nice to be at a place where you don't want for anything.
Yeah.
Be nice to be on that playing field to where you can compete with the big dogs for the kind of recruits you want, or to retain the guys that you want to retain. Now, I'm realistic. I know that will be tough probably out of this circumstance, but you're right on. A place where you don't have to worry as much about the BS that's going on right now, but that has good support, good firm support for men's basketball and the other sports, or maybe a place at a different level where you don't have those concerns.
The timing of this makes me wonder if your AD feared that you were going to go on another run and make another NCAA tournament and win a conference tournament and do all those things. And just the timing of it, why not just let you finish?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's you always wonder when you see that happen. I know at big time football programs, the earlier the better, so that you start to generate the interest, and you get the top dogs thinking about it before their season concludes. But I can't answer it. I just know that the decision was made, and I'm still going to coach my ass off until that final whistle. I know that.
Yeah, I just come back.
And I said it. Yeah. I said it going into the Santa Clara game. I said, guys, we're all in this thing together, man. You're not going to get some laid back version. Like we put that ball up in the air. We're going to compete, to the final whistle and try to get a big win. And I was proud of our guys for about 30 minutes, and then you could just see we ran out of steam, without Dez and Mattia, the depth and stuff. But we're getting healthy this week. We got guys rejuvenated, and I'm excited to go down to Vegas and hopefully, we can make a little noise again.
Yeah, you guys, did you see that Elite Eight thing coming? Like, you got healthy, you were playing better basketball. But, I mean, did it stretch beyond your wildest imagination what you guys actually pulled off that year?
No. I mean, the fact that it's only been done once in school history, 3 wins in the NCAA tournament, no, we didn't think that was coming. But I'll tell you this. When we got on that roll late in the season, and then we had – I'm like, we're going to write a book. I've already got the title. And we went through so much. Like that season, we lost to teams in the preseason we should have never lost to. Arizona shellacks us at home after an 8-day COVID pause. And and we just kept singing the same message. Until we come together, this is what's going to happen. And the guys got tired. They got tired of it. And they finally pulled together. Our leaders, guys like Ethan and Zach, really stepped it up. And then when we go and at halftime at Cal, we're up 2, but we're jacking threes. We're turning the ball over. We're falling apart again as individuals. It was funny. I'm sorry I'm rambling.
No, you're good.
Because of COVID, our locker room was a room that they had used in the past for their donors to have drinks before and during the game, right? So we're looking out over the baseball field. We have an attendant on either side to make sure nobody goes in there. I had to apologize for my language coming out of there at halftime, and we were up. And we pulled that one out, and we go to Stanford and beat them handily. We thought, oh, man, we're carrying some momentum into the tournament. But that's what people don't understand, and I'm not afraid to admit. There's got to be some luck fall in your favor.
Sure.
And now luck favors the prepared. We all know that. We finished 5th, but we get the 4 seed because Arizona has to sit out, right? The self-imposed ban. So a little bit of luck there. And, we're down 17 in the first half to UCLA and a timeout. I'm like, let's get it to 10, and we're going to kick their butts in the second half. That's how it played out. We get Oregon and then a heck of a game in the chipper. It was unbelievable. So we knew we had the momentum. I mean, we wake up the next morning, we're still in the bubble, fly to Indy. We sit in a small little conference room in our hotel for 6 hours. We watched the selection show in there until everybody's test came back negative. I mean, it was a weird deal. And 3 weeks we were in the bubble. And I'm telling you, one time over a beer, I'll share some of the stories. It was unbelievable. And when we went into the Tennessee game, they brought us into the Fury, the Indiana Fury, I think is the WNBA team. They have a little practice gym next to the arena. And we all walk through you know, the little system, I'm sorry, the metal detectors, both us and Tennessee, the gym's not clean and the locker rooms aren't clean. So we have to start our 60-minute pregame warm-up in there. And Tennessee, you know, they were sitting around, you know, on the floor, kind of waiting for the thumb up. And we're like, hey, this is our 60-minute start. Let's get it going in here. There was a look in our guys' eyes when they finally said, okay, you can't go to the locker room, but you can take the court. I said, grab your backpack, boys, just like AAU days. Let's go out there, get ready to kick some ass. There was a look in our guys' eyes when we walked out, our coaches huddled up and said, we got this one. It wasn't for anything Tennessee was doing. You know, they were pros. They were doing their deal. It was what we saw in our guys' eyes. We knew we weren't going to be beat on that night. And then they just carried that momentum going for a bit. And that was, when you look back, John, with just about 3 minutes to go, maybe 2:56 on the clock after being down 18 in the first half to Houston, we are tied to go to the Final Four. And I'm getting chills just thinking about it. So from where this place was for a lot of years to have that opportunity, like that was an all-time high. And you know what another one was? In year one, we had no seniors on senior night. We're playing Oregon. We started all 5 walk-ons.
Yeah.
Somebody chastised me for that, saying, you know, how important that deal was. We started the game down 3-0 after 3 turnovers in a row, and we lose by 3. But it was all about implementing what our culture stood for. Without those walk-ons, we would have never had a season because we only had 8 scholarship players. So some of the more fond memories that we're going to take with us. And I'm sorry I got on a little bit of a soapbox there, but you know, it's was proud to see those things and to experience those because of the incredible student athletes we had. And we're going to ride the rest of this year out as best we can.
All right. I will be in Vegas to see this game and see how far you take this thing. Catch lightning in a bottle.
There you go. Appreciate it, buddy. Go Beavs. Right.
And so there it is. He will see it through. I will be there. I'll have it covered at johncanzano.com. I hope you're reading me there. I'll take you behind the scenes as I always do. But, you know, a couple things to think about as Oregon State moves forward. They're obviously going to go out and they're going to try to hire a replacement for Wayne Tinkle. But will it matter if you don't fund the program in the way that it needs to be funded? Will it matter when you're up against the likes of Gonzaga and San Diego State and Utah State and other athletic departments in the New World Pac-12 that have more revenue share to disperse to their athletes? You know, I had my back of the napkin math had Oregon State's revenue share just a tick over $2 million. Tinkle there saying that that's about right and confirming that for us. And then talking about what he thought it would take in the New World Pac-12 to compete. He's saying it's $4 million. So the next coach in, you know, going in, like you've got one arm behind your back as you're trying to compete with the schools in the new Pac-12. You need $3, $4, $5 million to be at the top of that conference. I want you to tell me in the comment section what you thought of Wayne Tinkle, what he had to say, what you think about Oregon State and sort of where they are right now in the hierarchy of the New World Pac-12. And make sure that you like and subscribe and make sure that you're reading me at johncanzano.com. Thanks for being here.